This is our real thoughts on Children of the
Greetings,
Corn.
mere mortals down there.
The angle we have here is a little different because I left the tripod at the office. We kind of didn't know we were going to do this today. I was going to try and do it tomorrow, but time constrictions and stuff. So we're going to look like gods while we talk to you. Much like
Perform for us.
Isaac thought he was a god. And
Isaac. I love it.
No! And if you want to please us as gods, is the other reason we got this angle, we are selling new prints, by the way. Here's a picture of one right here. I
don't see anything.
No, you don't, because we're doing this.
Oh, you're doing it in post.
Yes. In fact, this picture, probably Beth and Tim haven't signed that picture yet, but they're going to today. So, yeah, if you don't see it on there, they will also sign that picture. And we have a bunch of other ones as well, so definitely go check that out. You can see them at theawesomestore.com. So now that we got that plug out of the way, let's talk about yet another story from our darling Stephen King.
I feel bad because
I always feel bad talking about him, but he just gives so much entertaining material to talk about.
I think part of it is a lot of people are just like, why do you hate Stephen King?
We really don't.
And I'm like, the funny thing is, on a technical level, I think he's one of the best popular writers out there. Like, his stories are always gorgeously written. They're like page turners. He uses the active
really
voice.
good.
He wrote this book, and it's all good advice about how to write well, like from a technical level. My thing is, I just don't like his stories. That's where the problem is. Like, there's so many writers who are just like, they can tell a good... They basically have a good story in their head, but when you read it, it's like garbage. Like, it's just poorly written and this and that, but just like, well, the story was good, but I could barely get through it. He's the opposite to me. It's like I love like flipping pages through his books, but by the end of it, I'm like, really? That's what happened? Like that? Okay.
Well, and this I haven't read the short story that I'm pretty sure it's a short story that
most of them
based
are.
on. Yeah,
a lot of the lesser ones are, and you can tell because the films then feel padded. Because you're like, oh, this would have been a great 20-minute short movie.
Yeah. Well, and this one, I think the idea of scary children is really nothing new. We have a bird out there. Sorry, yeah. No, out of here. There's just like this bird going,
holy
and
shit.
I don't know, just every once in a while, we'll just hear this bird going, wee, wee. We try to look outside, see if anything's around, but no, it's Isaac. You are not talking about me, wee, wee.
Yeah, that was like something out of a Stephen King book.
Yeah. No, every once in a while, I don't know if you can hear it, but yeah, you just hear wee, wee. So just ignore that. Animal cruelty right in front of you. No, we have tried to find where this bird is, and we can't. So every once in a while we just hear that. But
okay.
Yeah, very, very strange. So that's good. It gives you a haunting atmosphere to do this vlog in.
So no, I don't think Stephen King is a bad writer.
No, he's an awesome person. Every time you see him in interviews, he seems so
cool. Yeah, no, I love like some of the tweets and stuff he puts out, and like whenever I see him in interviews, he's great. It's just his stories just don't do much for me. And part of it is I'm not really scared by monsters so much. So, and in some cases it's like The Shining I think is an okay story, but when push came to shove I like the Kubrick film better because the book and the miniseries is about redemption. Not scary. Yeah. Give me the Kubrick film where it's just like, no, he's just fucking nuts. No happy, bittersweet ending to that one.
Well, and again, the idea of scary kids, this has been done for a while with like the Bad Seed and Village of the Damned and stuff like that. But it was not a bad idea to have an update of it, and honestly, this idea of these children that form their own religion and a cult, and even the title, as strange as it sounds, Children of the Corn, it sounds so silly, but it's also like, it can kind of be creepy too. It sort of walks that line.
The funny thing is, when I was a kid, the movie posters scared me.
Did it?
Like the whole concept of Children of the Corn just kind of scared me because I knew I would probably be one of the first children offed when the cult took over. So I always knew that I had no ability to survive any situation ever. Anything bad happens, I would be the first one to die. So the whole concept of oh, yeah, my peers take over and they're running a cult, I'd be the first to go, because I'd be like, you guys are acting like assholes. They'd be like, kill the unbeliever! So.
But this movie, as we kind of explained in the review, is pretty dull. Obviously, surviving.
No, seriously, Children of the Snore is what I call it. It's
obviously
actually a very boring movie.
Surviving on the shock value, because again, I think it's like it. Like the idea of a killer clown is like, ooh, just that idea is so creepy. But I think people are just intimidated by the idea.
The problem is, this killed in the 80s when this seemed shocking. Nowadays, I think a lot of people look at Children in the Corner just like particularly people younger than us, and they're like, what was the big deal?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so children kill some people. It's not that, like, because we got... Like,
we're seeing it all the time in America now.
Yeah, we see it all the time in America. B, like, we got like fucking Game of Thrones, we got that...
Hunger Games,
which was that stupid, not Paranormal Activity,
The Purge?
No, not The Purge. There's some other one where it's like a bunch of kids are killing like their parents and their brothers and sisters or something because some boogeyman's telling them to. I don't know.
I missed that one.
I can't remember the name of it, but
there's a ton of them now.
Yeah, it's everywhere now. So this really, like, watching it from like today, it's just a whole bunch of nothing.
The things that stand out to me about it, which is why I said I think we should do this review, because we both remember it being kind of boring, but I was like, look,
Isaac.
Isaac, and really all the kids. The kids are all pretty good. The main kids are a little bland, but they're kind of written that way.
Typical Stephen King project. The kids are all amazing, and the adult actors suck.
Yeah.
Except for The Shining. That one was pretty decent all around. But yeah, I was thinking of like Stephen King's It, where I'm like, man, I'm so into the kid story. Movies like Stand By Me. Like, that's another one. The kid actors are great. That seems to be a common thing. I don't know if it's...
He writes kids very well. I think he remembers the hardships of childhood.
Yeah, I think it's because he remembers what it's like to be a kid better. So if you write that really well, and then all you have to do is translate it to screen, that might be easier. Like, a kid maybe could pick up on it. I don't know, but... Yeah, so the kids were all made that fucking ginger kid.
Malachi.
Why I saw that when I was young, that kid just gave me the creeps. Like, Malachi, no, Outlander! Outlander!
Yeah, so the kids are all great. That whatever that guy was, 20-year-olds or whatever that did.
Yeah, he wasn't even a kid. That guy. Oh man, I wish I could remember his name. I feel bad now, but I didn't know we were doing this still. Amazing.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite performances in any Stephen King film.
He is just so much fun.
He's like you know what he is? He's like a little Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I always feel like Joffrey was tapping into that sort of just, I am smug and I am God and you will do my bidding or I will kill you.
There is a sense that, and maybe that's why it was a hit and people still can't remember, is that all the kids, when you see them talking and everything, they look like they really legitimately believe what they're saying and the religion and stuff like that.
Oh, they drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. I will say, actually, as a, when I was a kid, because I saw it when I was pretty young, it didn't scare me, but it was kind of the first introduction, to a religion that was so obviously false, but they were trying to convince themselves it was real. Though it is kind of real too. There is this monster demon. Hold on. But before you get, I'm gonna let you finish. But it was the first movie that, as a youngin, actually did sort of say to me, "Hey, any religion that is not." That includes hurting people and that we're better than you and we have to destroy, anything on violence and anger and hatred and jealousy is false. And I just remember that word just false. And that just felt right. And, now this movie's made for adults and it's like, well, you would think most adults can catch on to that, but we're seeing not necessarily. But as a little kid, I just remember that really, really stuck with me. And so that is something I really did take from this movie, even though it's clearly not intended for kids, but I think a lot of kids saw it. So I did kind of like that.
Growing up in the 80s, you were always trying to get into like R-rated films, or you were always trying to find the friend whose parents would rent the R-rated films, or... Does that still happen? Like, I feel like now with the internet...
sure it does.
I don't know, I feel like now with the internet, like, maybe people just grab at themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, that was such a huge thing. So I think a lot of us, like, saw it anyway.
Yeah. Well, they would still show it on TV and stuff, because there's not that much swearing, there's not that much gore that I remember.
No, it's actually, by today's standards, it's pretty timid. I've seen worse on network television.
Yeah, honestly, and for TV, it's like, if there are some swearing, you just bleep them out and boom, it's like PG movie.
That's why the movie resonated with me, because up until the stupid ending, which is stupid, I say it's stupid because it's stupid, it's like that damn spider in it.
Yeah.
Up until then, like... Those sort of stories resonated with me more because they were real. I'm like, the next day you go to school and you're like looking around and trying to figure out, okay, which would be the killer in this group? Like, which? I was just like, you little rat bastard, you'd kill me. Like, but there was a certain reality to stories that they were about humans succumbing to their darker side and this and that. Monsters never scared me. Ghosts kind of scared me for some reason, but monsters, they never did. I had a fear of some monsters in the sense of they were more animal-like, particularly depending on how realistic it was. Like Alien. Aliens.
Yeah,
Alien and Aliens, but that was because it was like an animal, like after you. And the Terminator scared me because that was just like some robot that and you couldn't reason with it.
Yeah, like the T-1000 was pretty scary.
Those kind of things. But for the most part, most movie monsters that you would see, like in Stephen King, there were
the killer doll
who's behind the rose, or even like Poltergeist, that clown thing never scared me.
No, but
there are scary scenes.
Poltergeist does not age well. I'm sure the remake is worse, but it does not age well.
Like there are scenes in Poltergeist when I was a kid, they scared the hell out of me, but it wasn't that. The scene with the corpses in the pool, I didn't go swimming.
Yeah, that was pretty creepy.
Yeah, but the clown actually never. And so the first part, like I remember, Children of the Corn, like really scared me when I was young, and then that ending. Like, completely, like, just destroys it. It destroys it on two levels. One, it is so fucking unimpressive that it's just, all we can do is laugh at it. Like, because even, I'm just gonna say...
That cartoon explosion.
Oh, don't, like, if you're some millennial watching this, and you're just like, in the 80s, they thought this was... No, we didn't. No,
that's stupid.
No, we have fucking Star Wars still in the 80s. Like, that was shitty special effects back then. Like, that was laughable. That was like the CGI baby in Twilight for you guys. And people aren't going to look back. It's like, really, they thought those are good effects? No, nobody did. So they're terrible effects. And two, I think it takes away from the whole kind of like message behind it when it's just like, oh, all right, well, it's just a monster. So I'm like, well, then really, I guess they were kind of right. Because they're like, well, this monster will kill you if you don't do its bidding. Then I'm like, well, then they were completely justified in running this cult.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, they made this cult up.
We don't know exactly what it is, but I'm sure it ties into Dark Tower, whatever that people trying to make
the Stephen King expanded universe.
Yeah.
The SKEU. But yeah, that's what bothered me about it, because I'm like, it's not a power play for Isaac. Like, that would have been creepier to me. It was just like, no, Isaac just made this up because he's a fuck. And then he's got these other little fucks who follow him, which is always what happens in middle school. Okay, maybe I'm going back a little too far. But that would have been creepier. Instead, it's just like, oh, well, a monster told him to do it. I'm like, well, then I guess it's the monster's fault. I'm not scared of monsters anyway.
You hit on something that
The monster's in us, people.
You hit on something that I thought, as a kid, I didn't want to know the answers to things. I didn't want to know what was running the Children of the Corn. I didn't want to know if it was real or if it was just some kids.
But not there.
In Independence Day, I didn't want to see the aliens, but they showed the aliens, and there's always this sense where, the birds. We don't know why they do that in the movie, and that is so much scarier. To me, so much
Alfred Hitchcock has things for blondes and torturing them, so I don't know why that happened.
But I mean, it's one of those things where it's like the scariest stuff to me are the ones where they give you just enough for it to be scary, but they don't answer why. And I think so much of the world, like a lot of that fear comes from not knowing why terrible people do terrible things and stuff
Stephen
like that.
Stephen King,
But wouldn't this have been so much creepier if just, they stop these kids, they get the people out, and then you never know why that happened. That would just be so terrifying.
Man, I have not read that story, and so
Which one?
Children of the Corn.
Well, it was a short. It
was part of. It
was like a collection.
I forget which collection it's from, but I want to say it was like in the 8th grade when I read it last. I forget if He Behind the Rose was in it.
Yeah, so
I want to say
we don't know how much it's connected with this.
If it was, I want to say it was, but
it sounds like a King ending.
If it was, he didn't need it. Like, King literally could have just wrote this as just Isaac's psychotic, and they somehow defeat him. the end. Or that maybe there's some crazy preacher that put it into Isaac's head. Point being, if you kept it human, I think it would have been way fucking scary.
Or you just don't know. You don't know if it was actually something or if it was just the kids or whatever, or Isaac brainwashing, all that stuff.
It's some shit weasel wandering around in a corner.
And I think you really lose something when you do that, when you answer too much. I think that's
particularly when your special effects can't back it up.
I think that's why Ghosts got so popular for a while. Stuff like The Ring and Paranormal Activities and Sixth Sense and stuff. Because you don't know. We don't know how ghosts work. We don't know why they're back. We don't know what their weaknesses are.
And I'm just gonna say the moral of The Ring. That's another where I'm like more scarier than the miniseries of Book of the Shining, because this is like the whole moral behind that is like, no, you can't reason with this thing. It's just a fucking bitch. And that scares me. Stop.
Aha, your phone went off this time. Ha! They're gonna make a drinking game how many times their phones go off. But no, you brought up The Ring. Every once in a while, I get showing what the monster is, or you think it's gone or whatever, and then suddenly it comes back. I just take you out of your comfort zone.
Well, that was a great payoff with the special effects coming out of the TV like that.
And it was just so unexpected because you haven't seen it really do that in the movie, so when it does that at the end, it's like, whoa, and it totally just catches you off guard. It takes you out of your comfort zone. So I can understand doing that. I can understand giving this sudden answer to something for kind of this shock and kind of this final hit.
But there was no answer. There was no motivation behind that.
Yeah, and I think... But with some stories, I think they just got so, caught up with it, thinking like this is their one chance, and they gotta give you everything. Everything has to be explained. When it's like the scarier thing is when it's not explained.
It was always that video. It just sort of led there. Imagine if The Ring was really about a group of creepy kids, and all of a sudden the ring ghost pops out of nowhere, and you'd be like, well, what the fuck is this? Like none of this was building up. And I always felt like, well, he behind the rose and this and that. Okay, I guess that's build-up, but at the same time, I thought it was like, oh, it's a metaphor for maybe some creepy dude that told him this or something. But I didn't think it was going to be some cheesy 80s music video monster. It's like a bad MTV music video, like from 1984. It just...
I guess there's always...
expected more.
There's always a very clear... And again, I don't know how much of this is tied into King with the movie, but there's always a very obvious anti-religious thing in his movies. Which, no, but I will say, given the time that they were written, I mean, it is something where it's like... I definitely see why, and you definitely know he probably has a past with it and stuff, but there is a sense that every single movie has some religious figure who's an asshole. I mean, just always. And with this one, again, I kind of give it a little bit of credit that at the very end, he comes around and he's not saying all religion is shit, it's all false, even though they both very much believe that. He's saying that anyone that has hatred and anger at the focus is false, and I do respect it.
I have no problem with Stephen King having issues with organized religion, because, aspects of it are nuts.
But it's in every goddamn story.
But yeah, that's my problem.
And it's always the jerk. It's every villain is always
become a trope.
Yeah.
And I don't like it as a trope. And by Children of the Corn, it was really starting to become like, okay, here we go again. By The Mist is the one where I wanted to strangle the movie. Where I'm just like, I will say this about The Mist, it really captured the tedium of being trapped in a place with a bunch of assholes you really can't stand. Because I was just like, I hate this grocery store. I hate these assholes. I hate that fucking crazy lady. And when you know it, she's a religious nut job and she's preaching about the end of the world. And I'm like, I was stabbing myself with like a drinking straw. Like, just kill me.
How that sound go again? I love that sound.
Fuck! So I just get sick of it. I'm like, I get it. You don't like organized religion or crazy right-wing religious nut jobs. More sympathetic I could not be.
Like either,
but like, it's just enough already.
It's like either religious nut job, monsters, or just bullies. That's kind of it for
in
like
Maine.
The bad guy. Yeah, in Maine. At least by the movies.
That's why I like The Mist. I got Stephen King bingo on that one. It was like 5 in a row. Like,
my favorite book of his is Misery, and that's because the villain in that you can
for one thing.
Human, a different setup. It's an obsessed fan.
Well, I think we know why we like that.
No, but even before that, it was kept simple.
Yeah.
There was no supernatural thing. Yeah. There was nothing that was trying to get him. There was no super big backstory or anything. It was just here's a fucking crazy fan, and it just keeps you in that room.
It's got some of the tropes, but the stuck in the middle of the elements, you can't go anywhere, claustrophobic, the crazy lady, but so it's got some of the tropes, but the way he uses them, way better.
Yeah, and I thought that was just enough of a really good spin, a nice angle.
Well, that's one of the examples, like, is there any Stephen King stories that I'm like, I like Misery, I like Dolores Claiborne, I like a lot of his short
Gerald's
stories.
Game is pretty good.
I liked Shawshank. A lot of the ones, like, that translated, that's about the best adaptation you can get in a Stephen King film.
The Shawshank?
Yeah, I can't think of one that's really better.
I never did see Cujo. I hear that one's pretty good.
Actually, I haven't seen Cujo either.
So something about I will say something about the ones where it's one person isolated. I mean, nowadays that's getting very hard to do well and get interesting because we've just seen it so much. And can they do it? Well, now it's been done a million times, so you have to really try hard to make it done well. And I think he does them very well, and they translate well into movies. So yeah, when he does that stuff particularly, I think they're like, it's good because it's good writing with a good story. Yeah. And a good idea.
Children of the Corn, I remember liking the story when I read it. Of course, I was like barely in my teen years, but I just felt like watching the movie again, having not seen it in forever, I'm like, it is so padded and so dull. Like, you could get through like this movie in 45 minutes if you just took out all the padding and this and that, and just like Linda Hamilton's performance is great, but her character is mostly useless. And then her boyfriend or fiance or whatever is just, I don't know, he just came off as a dick to me. And the whole way it was just always like, there, dear. There. Okay. You know what? I'll just listen to me. I'm the dude here. Like, there was something about him.
I think you got more of that than I did. I didn't like him, but
he was just rubbing me the wrong way. From the very beginning, he just had that. Maybe some of it was because like his character was a doctor, and he just had that holier than thou. Like, listen, I'm the smart one here. Like,
Dr. Graduate, he just became a doctor.
Yeah, Doctor. Yeah, I don't know. There was just something douchey about him. I was like, guy's bugging me.
And something about the ending too reminds me of like Commando, where it's like they have the two kids. It's like, oh, what do we do with these two little munchkins? I just immediately think of like Commando the musical. You see this woman, she's gonna be your new mother, and it's just they just get the kids now.
I just started humming the Jurassic Park theme because I was like, all they need to do is just leave in a helicopter. It's the same ending. Just like, well, I guess these two kids are mine now.
Yeah, that's kind of at that time where it's always like the kid doesn't have like two parents or whatever. It's like you just kind of see with the two parents. You just assume
was that part of the plot? I forget. Was that part of the discussions they were having in Children of the Corn, whether or not they were going to have kids?
No, it's like he didn't want to get married. That was
he didn't want to get married. But I feel like this was something.
Now they're going to have like a family.
This was something for like 10 years where it's like, will they want to get married? Will they want to conceive? Like, because that was the whole centerpiece of Jurassic Park. It's like, will Dr. Grant want to spread his seed?
Yeah, there was something about the family connection that, like, in the 80s and 90s, just like, and family is important. But I think especially in the past, like, 20 years with just how much divorce there is and families changing
maybe it was
stuff,
the whole,
I think it's like, now where's the new family? What does family mean? Which I think is fun.
Maybe for all its grit in the 80s, there was some weird undercurrent of family values, like, no, you must procreate, you must have a nuclear family.
Which is very interesting when we think about it, because the 80s you do think about being, like, so violent and extreme and gritty, but yeah, there is always...
But we had morals between snorting coke, damn it!
Yeah, it's like, but we have to have kind of this one moral, this one family. I don't even think it was like, hey, you have to have this, or we're gonna beat the shit out of you, or anything like that. It was more like that's all we knew, kind of. That's all 80s movies knew.
I feel like that was one of the kind of cheap tropes to, your hook in a story. It was like, oh man, do we really want kids? I want kids! And then by the end of it, it's like, well, I guess we saved a couple kids. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like for some reason that was some common.
Well, don't you remember that
10 years?
Don't you remember that South Park episode?
Jurassic Park was one of the last ones.
Yeah, and that South Park episode where they satirize Children of the Corn, and when it's all done, he's like, I think that this couple's talking whether or not they want to have kids, and he's like, so honey, maybe we can give this kids thing a try after all. And she's like, are you fucking nuts? I get my tubes tied after this. So I love South Park.
That was a great episode too.
But so I mean, I remember being pretty dull, pretty slow, not that impressive. But the kids are great. Yeah. The kids are just so much fun, and the adults posing as kids are great.
Waste of a Linda Hamilton role, and I don't even remember the other guy. But the kids were great. But even with the I'm trying to think. There was like one scene that was really bugging me where I'm like, okay, this is just how not to do suspense, right? Oh, it's when she's drawing like what's gonna happen to like Linda Hamilton or whatever, but you see the picture first. And then they start busting through the door and abduct Linda Hamilton.
No, that was the other way around. I thought you saw it after. I can't
or was it
remember.
after? Something happened where I'm just like, this is not a good reveal because we just saw it happen. And then you revealed, I guess either way you would do. Oh, maybe it was the other way around. Oh, it was the other way around because, yeah, then don't you
after
see
they take her and then you see the picture. I'm like, how creepy would it be if you see the picture first?
That's it. Because they do it like it's some
like, who's that? That's
reveal.
you! Like, wouldn't that be so cool? Wouldn't that be so creepy?
Yeah.
So you see her like
that was the problem. You're right.
to a cross or something.
You're right. No, that's right.
Oh,
I was thinking
you,
of the right way to do it.
No, yeah.
Yeah, but they did the wrong way to do it, which afterwards they have the reveal of the picture like dun dun dun, and I'm like, but this isn't a shock. We just saw this happen.
Yeah, we saw
like
it
this
at the
isn't.
beginning.
Why is this shocking? Why are you even playing Sting music?
I feel like you have this great idea with her doing these drawings that I think they later did in
nothing
like
with it.
they did now in like The Others and Insidious and stuff like that. They did much more effective.
It's another Stephen King bingo. You know, I've got child with psychic abilities. Like
but yeah, and you're right. It's like how cool would that have been? You know what? This would be a fun remake. If somebody just like remade
fixed all the mistakes.
Yeah, because this could actually be a very effective, scary film.
Well, and to be fair to
they
Stephen
did keep
King,
the mystery, and they did sort of do a lot.
The boy having the psychic,
the girl.
You know, no. I'm saying to be fair to Stephen King, the boy having the psychic abilities in something like The Shining really worked. But here it's just like she's psychic because, but it doesn't really affect the plot all that much. It's just almost just like, well, we need something creepy. She's psychic. Yeah, like, the film never takes advantage of it.
Yeah,
again, just padding.
Yeah, so that's about it. You know, we're gonna try and get back to doing more of these. We took sort of a break for a while, but
Isaac commands us.
No, disbelievers!
I think he still looks like that too, and has like, or I mean, he looks older, but I mean, I think he still has like a similar voice and everything. So I think for years he played like young boy roles and stuff, or a person that has a disease that makes him look like a young boy.
If I ever see him at a convention we're doing, I totally want to say hi. Just like, I'm like, you saved Children of the Corn. You made that movie.
He really did.
I want more of him, man.
You can never get enough Isaac. So, yeah, that's about it, and we will see you next time. Later.